Welcome to the Brant and Sherry Oddcast, sponsored by America's Christian Credit Union. To order Brant's latest book, Life is Hard, God is Good, Let's Dance, or to find out more about the show, go to BrantHansen.com.
I have something about the way of Jesus being easier again.
Oh, good.
This is very important. And since you have approached it from that perspective, I have been thinking about it from that perspective. I don't think I ever have. Because we've been raised, this is a hard way. It's a narrow road. It's a, you know what I mean? Pick up your cross, follow me. And then the tension of pick up your cross and follow me. But all those who are labored and heavy laden come to me and I give you rest, right?
Right.
And so, and I know my friend won't mind me talking about this. We're in similar circumstances where we have to deal with people specifically who are difficult, and that's not going to change.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And so she was talking about her perspective of dealing with the person. And I was talking about my perspective of dealing with my person, and the people are similar. It's the similar type of attitudes and all of that. And she was telling me what she was going to tell her person, and I said, "You're coming in a little hot there." And I said, "I totally understand. I'm just thinking maybe," but I felt, nope, that's how she's going to go in, right? And she did. And then it was texts, angry, hostile texts back and forth for hours, right? And I thought about the way of Jesus being easier. Not that I am perfect, I'm not saying that, but what I am learning is a soft answer.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to give a soft answer if you don't want to. Give a hard one.
Right.
The wrath just won't be turned away, right?
Right.
And so when the loving of enemies, approaching it from Christ's perspective of how he tells us as disciples, means that my day is not monopolized with these texts.
Right.
And yours will be.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That to me is easier. Is it easier to come at you softly, or what I am learning, which is very difficult, is fewer words?
Yeah.
So that you give me 17,000 words of why I'm not going to, and I say to you, okay, totally understand. Thanks so much. Love you. Is that easier in the moment? No, I got words and I can get you told if I want to get you told. But that answer that I gave you gives me the rest of my day.
Right. So you have a lighter life.
Yes.
Right. So this is not conflict avoidance.
It is not. I am not a conflict avoidant person. So
No. Well, okay. So I want to make that that statement. Like, but if your posture is such that you've prayed for this person and gotten a certain frame of mind before you respond.
Yeah.
Humans are so dialed into tone, so dialed into body mannerisms, so dialed into words between words that aren't even there, that are suggested, so they can pick up sometimes very accurately on,
are you blessing me or
right,
are you cursing me?
Right.
That's the question.
And it can be the subtlest thing they'll pick up. So if you get yourself in that frame of mind first,
yes,
your chances of not having endless text hatred goes up while still not compromising.
No, and there is resolution. So I don't allow things to continue, because that's where what we've also talked about, I've been thinking a lot about, is contempt. And so if I just let it open-ended, the contempt can get in. So there is resolution, but there's a resolution softly instead of, gosh, this goes so much deeper, but instead of me trying to defend my goodness, demand a blessing from you.
Yeah.
What I'm learning, and I'm in the very elementary stages of learning this, is that if I have gone to the throne room where he told me to come in boldly and get my blessing from him and believe it, believe that blessing, believe that love that he has for me, I don't necessarily need it from you, right? I don't need your affirmation. I don't need you to tell me. I don't need it. So that keeps me from having to defend. Right. I've received it already. I'm learning that, so that what am I trying to get out of this? To what end is what I keep asking myself. And that's a question you asked me one time, a long time ago. You probably don't even remember. Somebody was in a work relationship they were doing something more than they needed to do, and it was essentially taking work off my plate. I just didn't like the way that it all was shaking out, and I was like, I'm gonna tell them. And you said, to what end? And I drove home that whole day thinking, yeah, what?
To what end?
To what end? They
Right.
took the work off your plate. So what are you trying?
Yeah, that's great to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Well, what actually am I doing here? It's kind of funny. One of our sponsors gave me a T-shirt. I don't know how common this phrase is for a lot of people, but if you follow current events, there's a thing that's going out there called debanking.
Okay, I haven't heard it.
Banks both in Europe and the United States have said to certain people, like, yeah, you're not allowed to bank here anymore.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because we don't like your point of view in life or whatever.
Okay.
So it's called debanking. America's Christian Credit Union gave me a T-shirt that says "Debank yourself,"
Okay.
which I think is pretty funny.
Okay.
Because it's like, hey, I don't have to do major corporate banking like I have been doing, or I could do this as well. But
Yeah.
so they have all the normal like bank services and stuff, and we found them to be wonderful.
They're awesome.
Yep, and their motive has always been for decades, like, how can we join together and fund stuff?
Yeah.
So whereas the profit would have gone to who knows what, it's actually going to missions and ministries and some really good stuff. So if you're interested at all, and it helps the show if you do this, go to branthansen.com, scroll down, and then click on the America's Christian Credit Union. We'd totally appreciate it if you would. I love, some guy pointed out, I spoke at this men's conference thing, but a guy came up to me, he's like, you kept talking about Psalm 23. He's like, I read that, my cup overflows. That's in like the 4th or 5th verse.
Yeah, yeah.
So you prepare a table before me.
The presence of
In the
my
presence
enemies.
of my enemies, my
Yeah.
cup overflows. He's like, so to what you're saying, like if you're dealing from scarcity of love,
Yeah.
where you're not existing in this frame of mind where you're so thankful for God's love for you.
Yes.
So you're feeling scarce, and then you try to go interact with somebody else. Versus, they can go ahead and subtract from you.
Sure.
But you're overflowing.
That's good.
right.
Yes.
Like so, your cup is so full.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They can take whatever's flowing out of that.
Right.
You're in such good shape. It doesn't hurt like it would when everything's
desperately
scarce. You got a few drops in there.
I desperately want that. So I'm not speaking that from a mountaintop. I've been processing it.
Right. It's so human.
Yeah.
So I was thinking today, I honestly was thinking, did I ever, in my very churched background, very churched, all the camps, all the church services,
Both of us are
all
abundantly
the
churched.
BDSs, right, yeah. So our church cup has overflown, all of that. So did I ever get trained how to bless somebody who's cursing me? Did they say, okay, now here we're going to show you how to do this? Ever once? Never did it come up.
No.
That's really wild if you think about it. Like how to do stuff Jesus told us to do. Teaching them to obey what I've commanded you. Like, did that ever, or any number of other things that Jesus said, but it's like, it's so wild. So I love talking about this because this is kind of we're kind of doing that here. Like this is, it's a practicum too. It's not just lecture.
And God has said to me, hey, here is a nice way to work this out. I'm going to give you, in essence, what I cannot call I can't call it anything else but a thorn.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? That has been sent to buffet me. You know what I mean? And it's not going anywhere. And so now I'm faced with, are you, Sherry, going to do what we're talking about here on the show, the podcast, in friendship, and really being grateful that whatever you're studying for what you're going to write has kind of dovetailed into, well, this is also what you need to, you know what I mean? This is what you're going to need in life. And I'm grateful to God for that. So that it's constantly, it's not us just doing a podcast or a show.
No.
It's constantly reinforcing to me this is the way of Christ, it is easier. This is the way of Christ, it is easier.
It is.
Talking about it like this is not just, hey, let's do a podcast, but it is every day me wanting my cup to overflow with joy and with peace.
So that's only going to come from, like you said, I wouldn't use those terms. They're perfectly fine terms, but being in his throne room, like my background would just be like just talking with God or being with him. Yeah. That's the only way it's going to happen. The neat thing, though, I want to stress this in case you're listening. Maybe this isn't your thing right now, but if you have an area that you're like, I want the Lord to teach me in this area. I want to grow in this area as a disciple of Jesus. Yeah. Find an area. The neat thing is that if you grow in that area, a lot of the other areas happen too.
Yes.
So, and the other thing is, like, you're having to endure something. Well, we all have things we have to endure. You're having to endure this. That's how you learn endurance, is by enduring things.
That's true.
Like, and that helps in all different phases of life too. It's not torturous. It's just like, it helps make everything else make more sense and become less burdensome. Because this whole character change thing affects all the areas of our life. I kept trying to emphasize that with the guys this weekend. Yeah. Because they wanted me to talk about pornography for one of the sessions. Sure. And I was like, yeah, I'm happy to do that, but I'm going to take a certain angle on it. And it just talked about, don't let this stop you from growing in other areas of your life. And I'm like, here's why it's not a factor for me. Here's what it helps. Yeah. Why, the things in my life that help with that. Yeah. But if you're like, do not walk away in shame. Instead, like, keep growing in other areas and watch how your character changes such that this just becomes something that's like, I'm a non-smoker. Yeah. It's just it's not my thing anymore. It's not I don't do that. Yeah. And it is possible. Yeah. It is doable. Whether that's your thing or it's another thing, there are things that when Jesus is telling us we can live this way, he's not being unreasonable. Right. Don't worry about tomorrow. That's not crazy when he says that. Yeah. Like, all of this stuff it actually does. But the neat thing is it's in this particular area right now, but actually I think it affects our character in the whole. I think so, because it doesn't exist in a vacuum. No. So it's not like I have patience here, but no joy over there. That's not the way. No. That's not the way he does it. And so it goes back to that Colossians scripture that I was talking about, where it's with all patience and long suffering with joyfulness. You know what I mean? Like all of this fruit grows together, in measure. Yeah. And then your cup does overflow. Yes, and like, you're dealing from a really strong hand, as we say. That's somebody pointed that out, which is true. The fruit of the Spirit is a concatenation. It's like all at once. Yeah. They're not disconnected. Like you said, you just mentioned two. Like, I'm not going to be more peaceful and less joyful. Right. I'm going to be more joyful and less patient. Kind. I'm not going to be. I'm joyful, but I'm telling everybody off. I'm more peaceful and more of a jerk than I have ever been. But they come together, fruit. Yeah. They come together, which is totally true. So it's like, man, that endurance teaches you all these other things. Ooh, let me tell you. Believe me. The art of not having to have the last word, the discipline of that, the not having to worry about what everybody thinks of me. Like, I have to control what this person hates me. Yeah. Can't control that. No, you can't. I've just really, really been thinking about that and thinking about how God thinks about me. And really, do I believe that? Because the more that I believe it, the less I'll need emotionally less from other people. Yeah, that's called maturity. I've heard about it. It sounds good. I hear it's awesome. So it's just funny because this flows right into what I want to talk about on the radio show. Oh, that's great. So we're recording this before we're doing our radio show, but this is the first on my list. That's awesome. Yeah, so stand by. We're going to do a... come back and then... That's a tease for the first break of our radio show. This makes all the difference in the world for your life. In Colossians 3, it says, set your mind on things above, not on things that are on earth. Talk about lasting things, good things. Paul also writes, put your mind on whatever's pure and lovely and admirable and true and noble, like going down the list there. Like, there's no suggestion in those scriptures that someone will do that for you. Yeah,
Yeah, there's to be an intention on your part.
Right.
Yeah.
We can have a lot of people do a lot of things for us. They can bring us food with DoorDash or whatever they can do. Like you can pay them, but nobody can take your mind and set it on what's actually life-giving. That is up to you. We human beings, we have a lot of desires all the time, different kinds of desires. Desires for significance or food or some coffee or like all sorts of things. Saw this study from the University of Cologne. Like that matters in Germany, like you care.
Oh.
Brant, but where's it from?
Okay.
What university? Where? Okay, get out of map. The study said we experience desires in half our waking moments. There's something going on that we want. A third of them conflict with what we believe is the right thing to do.
Wow.
And we give in to those about a tenth of the time, it says. So it's constantly we're dealing with this stuff. This is why it's so exhausting if you're just like ratcheting up your willpower constantly. The wonderful thing is, and I know this is true, it can happen. We become different kinds of people. So it's not such a struggle all the time.
Yeah.
And that can happen. Our nature changes. We're spending time, we're abiding with him, Jesus talks about. I mean, spending time with him. Putting our minds on what's true and good, talking to him, singing songs about his goodness. This changes us. Sometimes people are like, hey, Brant, what do you do during the songs? And well, a lot of times I head out immediately into the streets.
Yeah, for the
leave the
3
studio,
minutes and 2 seconds of a song.
hang out with the fellas on the streets. We talk about stuff. I just got back. We're all kind of marveling at something. We were talking about this the other day. Remember Tom and Jerry, the cartoon?
I do. Big fan.
We all were talking about this. Like, none of us are really surprised that the cat was named Tom.
Why?
It just seems like a good name for a cat.
But Jerry for the mouse?
Somebody named a mouse. Jerry. Yeah, so it's like not we weren't surprised.
Tom
like,
makes sense.
Yeah, a cat name with a name.
Yeah,
okay,
right,
Tom.
right.
All right,
but
great.
why did we
Tom
name
cat.
him? Well, he has to chase something. It's not Tom and
I
the
just
mouse.
don't. I feel like we felt like
when you head
we just
back
don't
out
know
there,
any mice with. Okay, you got a
tell
message?
them I said that Tom and the mouse doesn't work for cartoons.
Jerry said Tom and the mouse.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The Brant and Sherry Oddcast, sponsored by America's Christian Credit Union. To find out more about the show, go to BrantHansen.com.